Have you ever poured your heart into an idea, launched a product you really believe in, or maybe crafted what you thought was the perfect message, only for it to just, well, vanish?
Yeah, just disappear into that endless internet scroll. It's incredibly frustrating.
It really is. I mean, with billions, literally billions of messages flying around online every single day, getting your voice, your brand, your message actually heard, it feels almost impossible sometimes.
More than just a challenge, yeah.
But today, we're not just talking about the noise. We're going to try and cut right through it.
Okay.
We're doing a deep dive into a really powerful guide. It's almost a system. Brendan Kane's book, 1 Million Followers.
Right. And our mission here is pretty clear. We want to unpack this book in basically 3 key parts.
Okay.
First, we'll look at the core problem Brendan Kane is helping us solve. Why is this online influence thing so crucial now?
Makes sense.
Second, we'll break down the main ideas, the really smart strategies he lays out for getting rapid, but importantly, real growth.
Real growth, yeah, not just numbers.
Exactly. And then third, and this is crucial, we'll focus on how you, listening right now as an entrepreneur, maybe a creator, how you can take these strategies and actually apply them. We'll use some real-world examples, too.
Yeah, because it's not just about vanity metrics, is it? It's not just chasing likes.
No, definitely not.
It's about translating that online presence into actual results. Getting that next big opportunity, finding your dream clients, or just making sure your important ideas don't get lost.
Tangible outcomes.
Exactly. So this deep dive, it's designed to show you how to do that, whether you're just starting out, maybe feeling unknown, or even if you're an established brand looking to really amplify things.
Okay, let's get into it.
All right, let's unpack this. So let's start with that big frustration Brendan Kane tackles head on. We all feel it, right? That difficulty getting your stuff seen by the right people online is just so crowded. What is his take on what's really happening?
Well, he frames it as more than just crowdedness. It's like a new economy almost, an economy of what he calls clout.
Clout, okay.
Yeah, and he gives some really stark examples from the book, like Sophie Turner from Game of Thrones. She apparently said in an interview she got roles over, quote, better actresses simply because she had more social media followers.
Wow, that's pretty direct.
It is, and it's not just A-list celebrities. He mentions aspiring actors now being told they need like tens of thousands of Twitter followers just to get an audition.
Seriously? Just for an audition?
Yeah. It shows how influence has become almost a prerequisite in some fields. It's tangible, career-defining stuff.
Okay, I can see then with that kind of pressure why people might be tempted to just, buy followers, cut the line.
Oh, absolutely. The temptation's huge. But Kane is really, really strong on this.
What does he say about it?
He warns against it flat out, calls it shady and wrong, says it's unsustainable, and ultimately it just damages your reputation.
Because people figure it out.
Exactly. You get a number, sure, but zero real engagement. And he argues, rightly, I think, that your audience will know, and rebuilding that trust, almost impossible. But here's the kicker. The problem isn't just fake followers. Even established accounts, big ones, with millions of real followers, often see terrible engagement.
Right, I've seen that. Like on Facebook, maybe only a tiny percentage see a post.
Precisely. He mentions figures like 2–5% reach sometimes. And that's not because the followers are fake, it's the platform algorithms. They're basically suppressing visibility, prioritizing other stuff.
So the real challenge is beating the algorithm, in a way.
That's a huge part of it. The book really dives into how you overcome that suppression and actually get seen by real people who might genuinely care about what you're putting out there.
Okay, so if that's the problem, the noise, the algorithms, the need for real clout, how do we actually start fixing it? What's the first big shift in thinking Kane says we need?
It all starts, according to him, with your why.
Your why.
Yeah. Before you even think about tactics or growth hacks, he pushes you to get crystal clear on why you want this reach. What's the ultimate goal?
Not just followers for followers' sake.
Exactly. Is it a book deal? Speaking gigs? Building an agency? He mentions his own goal as a publishing deal and speaking opportunities. Without that deep, clear why, he argues the whole process, especially the failures, can feel, well, pointless.
And that clarity fuels the commitment, I guess.
Yeah.
Because he talks about needing serious commitment.
Totally. He asks you to rate your goal's importance, like 1 to 10. How badly do you want it? Because that dictates the time, the money, the emotional energy you're willing to pour in. And part of that commitment is embracing failure.
Right, the fail fast idea.
Yeah, he calls it failing hard and failing fast, or even fail faster. It's like that Michael Jordan quote about missing shots. You have to test, see what bombs, learn, tweak, and go again, constantly.
That mindset work sounds crucial before you even get to the content itself.
It really is the foundation.
Okay, so foundation set, mindset right. Now let's get to the juicy part, the actual key to growth. Kane says one metric matters above all others for rapid growth. What is it?
Shareability. Simple as that.
Shareability. Not likes, not views.
Nope. He argues shareability is the single most important metric. It's about people taking an active step to share your content with their network.
Why is that so much more powerful?
Well, for one, it's what the platform algorithms love. He gives the example of Julius Dean, the magician.
Oh yeah, I've seen his stuff.
Right. 15 million followers in 15 months, apparently by focusing almost obsessively on shares. And someone from Paramount Pictures is quoted saying the same: action over passive likes. Platforms like Facebook actively boost stuff that gets shared a lot because it signals real engagement, real value to their users.
Okay, that makes sense. So if shares are king, what actually makes someone hit that share button? What kind of value drives that action?
It boils down to providing clear, immediate value to the person sharing.
To the sharer, not just the recipient.
Exactly. He uses an example from his team strategist, Naveen Gowda. Naveen shares recipe videos with his fiance, maybe financial tips with his mom, funny clips with friends. In each case, by sharing, Naveen positions himself as the source of that value. He's like, hey, look what I found for you. It makes the sharer look good or feel helpful.
Okay. It's like you're curating value for your own circle. This sounds a bit like the 80-20 rule principle, give more than you ask.
He connects it directly. Give value 80% of the time, ask for something only 20%. Eric Brownstein from Sharability, they did work for Cricket Wireless. They created these super viral videos that just made people smile, pure value, no ask initially. Then they retargeted people who engaged.
Smart.
Or think about Katie Couric doing her live colonoscopy. That wasn't selling anything directly. It was massive public health value, encouraging screenings. And it worked. Screenings went up 20%. That kind of service-oriented content gets shared.
And it often taps into emotion, right? Authenticity.
Yeah.
I remember reading about that tacos video by Pedro de Flores. Went mega viral.
Over 100 million views, yeah. Because it was relatable, a bit vulnerable, funny. Authenticity is huge.
Any other keys to making content shareable?
Unexpected twists help, like that video of Cristiano Ronaldo in disguise playing football. It creates a moment of surprise, connection, and crucially, get to the point fast. Hook people in the first few seconds. Don't bury the lead.
Good advice for anything online, really.
Absolutely. And Prince Iya, the creator with billions of views, he apparently transformed his reach when he shifted to a service mindset, focusing on impact. His mantra was, what comes from the heart reaches the heart. That drove his shareable content.
Okay, let's tackle something important. When people hear Brendan Kane, 1 million followers, they might think it's just about buying followers, which we know he's against.
Right.
But the book does talk about using paid media. How does he position that? It's not about buying fake, so what is it about?
It's a really critical distinction he makes. He argues that efficient paid is the new organic.
What does that mean?
Basically, that most successful brands, even if they start organically, eventually use paid ads for sustained, predictable growth. And he points out that even purely organic growth isn't free. It has a cost per acquisition, a CPA. Well, if you're not spending money directly on ads, you're spending time, staff resources, doing outreach. All of that has a cost associated with it. So paid media is just making that cost more explicit and potentially more efficient.
Okay, so if you do have great shareable content that people are organically sharing, does that help your paid campaigns? Is there a connection?
A huge one. He uses Facebook's ad auction as an example. If your content is genuinely good, providing value, getting shares, Facebook actually rewards you.
How?
With cheaper ad costs. It's like a feedback loop. Good content performs well organically and makes your paid amplification cheaper. If your content is bad, costs can shoot up. It's like the platform policing itself for quality.
Interesting. So what kind of money are we talking about? Can you actually get significant results without, a Fortune 500 budget?
According to Kane, yes, if the content is right. He claims his system has generated 1 million followers for as little as $10,000 in some cases.
10,000 for 1 million. That sounds almost too good to be true.
Well, the costs vary wildly. He notes followers might cost, say, 6 or 7 cents in the US UK, but less than a penny in a market like India where there's less competition.
Ah, okay. The global aspect.
Right. And he uses an analogy of the Beatles early on. They often paid to play gigs, right? But their music was good, word spread, organic growth followed the initial push. Paid reach amplifies good content, which then sparks organic sharing.
That makes sense. So you've got your shareable content, you're maybe using some paid media strategically. How do you make sure it hits the right eyeballs? This is where targeting and testing come in, isn't it?
Absolutely central to his method. Tools like Facebook's targeting are incredibly powerful. You can get super specific, like targeting married college grads in Chicago who love dogs or whatever.
Wow.
But here's the warning. Don't assume you know who your audience is. Test it.
Here's an example of this, right?
Yeah, with Chapbooks, the photo printing service.
Huh.
They made a Mother's Day video and assumed, logically, their target was mom's 45-plus hen. But when they tested ads, they found young women, 18-25, were sharing it like crazy. They were sharing it with their moms. That insight completely changed the targeting and results. You have to test beyond your assumptions.
So for anyone listening, the message is test everything. Headlines, pictures, videos, audiences, keep testing. It's that hypothesis test pivot loop again.
Exactly. And understanding how people communicate helps you test better. He mentions Jeff King's process communication model, or PCM.
PCM, what's that?
It's a psychological framework NASA and even Bill Clinton have apparently used. It breaks people into 6 personality types: thinkers, persisters, harmonizers, etc. To reach the widest audience, Kane suggests crafting messages that appeal to the core needs of the biggest groups, often focusing on feelings for harmonizers, logic for thinkers, and humor for rebels.
Like Clinton saying, I feel your pain, connecting emotionally.
Precisely that kind of tailored communication.
And besides psychology, what about just tapping into what's already popular?
Definitely. Link your message to trending topics, inspiration, news, entertainment, comedy, pets, whatever fits your brand. Kane apparently promoted PCM itself by titling an interview something like, "Discover why Tom Cruise, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Donald Trump all have the same personality type."
Huh. That would get clicks.
Right. It taps into existing curiosity. And use tools, Google Trends, Google AdWords, see what people are actively searching for. That's pull. Social media is often push. Also, listen to comments, analyze competitors. It's all data for testing.
Okay, testing is key. What about growth beyond paid ads? Strategic alliances, partnerships, it seems like a big piece of the puzzle, especially for organic reach or smaller budgets.
Hugely important. Kane talks about share-for-share deals and finding super connectors.
Super connectors.
People who know the people you want to reach. Remember Julius Dean, the magician? He grew fast, partly by getting larger meme pages to repost his stuff. Each repost brought tens of thousands of new followers. Find people with the audience you need.
But you probably can't just email Taylor Swift asking for a share, right? How do you start?
No, start smaller. Offer genuine value first. Think about Zoe Bell, the stunt woman. She worked with Quentin Tarantino for years, providing amazing stunt work, huge value. That relationship eventually opened doors for her acting career. Offer value in some way to influential people in your space.
I'll leverage other platforms too.
Yes. Think about how Shazam partnered with AT&T and got onto the early iPhone, unique value on a growing platform. YouTube used MySpace embed codes. Instagram used Facebook. Dropbox gave free storage for referrals. Find existing platforms or networks and offer something unique or valuable to their users.
What about things like gifting products to influencers? Or those engagement pods or groups?
Both mentioned. Gifting can get you exposure. And engagement groups where peers agree to share and comment on each other's content can definitely boost initial visibility. He cites Michael Dapa's Big Shaq character going viral, partly because a network massively shared it early on.
Interesting. And you don't even have to create all the content yourself, right? Licensing is an option.
A massive one. Joy Von Wade's The Wall of Comedy page. Huge reach, mostly organic, apparently uses 70% licensed content. They give creators exposure, they get free, proven content. Joykin Media built a giant following licensing viral, user-generated videos. You can be a curator, an amplifier, not just a creator.
This really broadens the possibilities. And speaking of broadening, let's talk about that global opportunity again. You mentioned lower costs in other markets.
It's a potential game changer, he argues. Think about it. 7.8 billion people globally versus maybe 330 million in the US.
So the scale is just enormous.
Enormous. And building a large following, even if it starts internationally, gives you credibility. Plus, it's often way cheaper, less than a penny per follower in places like India, Indonesia, Brazil, compared to 7-10 cents maybe in the US or UK, less competition for ad space.
So you could use that to build initial traction, like get your numbers up and gain social proof before maybe targeting more expensive home market.
Exactly. Launch content in emerging markets first. Engagement is often higher there too, sometimes 10 times higher. Get momentum, then push it domestically. He points to WhatsApp focusing on markets like Malaysia, Turkey, India early on and getting huge before dominating elsewhere.
And for personal brands like actors or musicians,
Huge potential. Build a massive fan base internationally, say. An actor gets 1 million followers in Indonesia, then they walk into a Hollywood casting meeting with real, quantifiable clout. It changes the conversation.
does the content need to be different for global audiences? Language barriers.
Often, universal themes, emotion, humor, inspiration travel well. And platforms like YouTube have built-in translation tools. You can create language-agnostic visual content or leverage the tech.
Okay, so through all of this, the mindset, the shareable content, the paid media, the testing, the alliances, the global view, there's one thread that seems to run through everything: continuous learning.
The unending loop of test and learn, it never stops. Kane emphasizes this again and again. Prince Iya, even with billions of views, is still testing.
How do you do it day to day?
Test everything. Pictures, colors, buttons, headlines, catchphrases. Jonathan Skogmo from Jukin Media, they get billions of views a month, is constantly testing content types, thumbnails, even posting times.
And really listening to the audience feedback.
Actively. Treat your consumers like partners. Read the comments, really read them. Use those search tools like Google Trends to see what people are actually looking for.
So social listening isn't just checking mentions, it's deeper.
Much deeper. Understand the why behind engagement. Look for trends. Check out your competitors. What's working for them? What's bombing? Learn from everyone.
It sounds like a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly what Jonathan Skogmo says in the book. Just because you're not on a rocket ship doesn't mean you're not growing. Patience, consistency, and that relentless testing mindset are key for the long haul.
Okay, fantastic. We've covered the problem Kane addresses, the core ideas from 1 million followers. Now let's bring it home for everyone listening. How can you as an entrepreneur, maybe a small business owner, a creator, actually apply these principles starting now?
All right, let's make it super practical. 6 key takeaways. First, define your why and your real goals. Seriously, get specific. Don't just say more followers. Why? What impact do you want? A local bakery's why might be creating a community hub with a goal of opening more locations. That clarity fuels everything.
Got it. Number 1, deep clarity on the why and the end goal.
Second, prioritize shareable content relentlessly. Every single thing you put out, ask, how does this give value to the person sharing it? Think about that B2B software company making funny, relatable videos about industry pain points. Their customers share it because it makes them look smart and in the know.
Okay, design for sharing from the start. What's third?
Third, use paid media smartly to test and accelerate, even a tiny budget, like $10 a day on Facebook ads. Use it not just to get followers, but to test which messages, which images, which formats get the lowest cost per share. Let the data guide your bigger content efforts. It's about learning efficiently.
Right, using paid ads as a testing lab. Number 4,
Fourth, build strategic alliances in your niche. Find influencers, complementary businesses, even peers. Offer them value first. Maybe a fashion designer gives a local blogger an exclusive sneak peek. Maybe you cross-promote with another podcast in your space. Build your network proactively.
makes sense. Connect and collaborate. 5th,
Fifth, consider global potential if it fits. If your product or service isn't tied to one location, test small ad campaigns in emerging markets. You might gain a large, engaged audience cheaply, boosting your overall credibility and social proof fast. An online course creator could use this to show traction to investors.
use global reach for leverage. Okay, the last one.
And sixth, the one that underpins it all, commit to continuous testing and learning. This is non-negotiable. Watch your analytics. Be willing to ditch what's not working. Use social listening. Stay curious, like that personal trainer noticing short videos work better and pivoting their whole strategy based on data. Never stop refining.
Define why, design for sharing, test with paid, build alliances, think global, and never stop learning. That's a powerful framework.
It really is.
So what we've really unpacked today is that building a significant online following, like Brendan Kane outlines, it isn't magic or luck. It's not just for celebrities.
No, it's a science. It's a system. Testing, learning, strategic amplification.
And it seems the core of it all comes back to that relentless focus on providing real value and creating an emotional connection, doesn't it? Something that genuinely inspires people to become your advocates.
Absolutely. Being authentic, being service-oriented, and committing to that marathon mentality of testing and adapting. That's where true influence comes from.
So a question for everyone listening. What if the key to your next big thing, that dream client, that funding round, getting your vital message heard, what if it lies in understanding and actually applying these strategies?
Yeah, think about that. In this world absolutely saturated with content, maybe the most valuable thing you can develop isn't just your great idea, but the strategic know-how to make sure that idea actually cuts through the noise and connects.
A really powerful thought. We definitely recommend grabbing a copy of Brendan Kane's 1 Million Followers to go even deeper. We'll put a link in the description.
Definitely worth the read if this resonates.
Until next time, keep digging, keep learning, and keep making that impact.